Today's program is brought to you by OTCStockShark.com. For the latest and greatest OTC and Pink Sheets information, sign up for your account at OTCStockShark.com. Thank you for tuning in to TBC Today. I'm Brandon Vincent.
And I'm Angelina Soriano. In travel news today, if the Nuova Similoni espresso machine on the counter at present, a men's clothing store in East London, seems a little extra shiny, that's because it's a trophy. Gwynlams Davis won it at last year's World Barista Championship. Not only is the chrome-plated machine real, the espressos pulled from the old-style levers are so flavorful you won't mind the paper cups. Mr. Davies calls the makeshift setup Proof Rock Coffee, and he can be found there on weekdays. During the week, the machine is staffed by an employee who is the reigning barista champion of Sweden. There is such a thing as competitive espresso, and it's taken seriously within the profession. So is London's emerging status as a coffee town. Though chains like Costa and Starbucks still dominate, a few dozen independent shops scattered around the city from a lively scene that still feels underground even as it acquires a global reputation. Mr. Davies is something of a cult figure, and he's using that notoriety to champion other accomplished baristas around town by offering the mischievously named Disloyalty Card, where you get coffee at 8 different establishments he admires, and he'll make the 9th drink for free at his nameless push cart at the White Cross Street Market. Mr. Davies is actually England's 3rd consecutive World Barista Champion. The first was James Hoffman, who started Square Mile Coffee Roasters in 2008 with another award-winning coffee taster. It's a small operation, recently relocated to an arched vault under some train tracks in East London. Today, Square Mile's matte black bags of beans have become the shorthand for quality. They supply beans to Milk Bar, a Soho coffee bar just opened by the same team behind Flat White. Though it's recently been co-opted by chain stores, the Flat White is also a symbol of serious coffee. It's basically a cappuccino-sized latte, a style imported from Australia when a wave of baristas immigrated from those countries. Still, independent stores continue to appear in all corners of the city. Last year, the Espresso Room opened in a truly tiny Bloomsbury storefront, and farther north is a shop called Tina, We Salute You, opened last February. It's a neighborhood spot with effortless style. Now over to Brandon with international news.
Thanks again, Angie. In today's international news, at a news conference concerning China's economic situation, Mr. Li said the government had always tried to limit their military spending and that it had set the defense spending at a reasonable level to ensure the balance between national defense and economic development. The legislature must approve the government's 2010 budget at its session this month, but the vote is a formality. A budget report submitted to the legislature said that the government had earmarked about $77.9 billion for the military in 2010, an increase of about $5.4 billion from the actual spending last year. Military spending in 2009 had been forecasted to expand an additional 14.9% over the 2008 total. But Reuters reported that spending grew at a slightly greater rate because the military spent about $2 billion more than anticipated. Last week, Mr. Li said that the budget increase would go toward enhancing the military's capability to meet various security threats and advances in China's military affairs and addressing the needs of the armed forces. Some of the money will be spent to raise the living standards of the military officers in line with improvements in national living standards. The slower growth could be linked to the maturity of costly weapons programs that have reached the end of expensive development cycles. And now to Angie with today's health news.
Think you're too busy to work out? Think again. Now there's the Ab Circle Pro, the fastest, easiest way to lose those love handles and get the sexy sculpted body you've always wanted.
The secret is the Ab Circle Pro combines cardio and abs to burn fat, while its unique friction-free track uses the momentum of gravity to target your entire midsection in a full circular motion, firing your core like no other machine has ever done. Best of all, it's fun and easy and takes just 3 minutes a day. And now, through this exclusive TV offer, the Ab Circle Pro can be yours to try in your home for 30 days for just $14.95. And if you call within the next 10 minutes, we'll send you Jennifer Nicole Lee's complete Lose Your Love Handle system, which includes our 3-minute express workout and nutritional guide, absolutely free.
Call 1-800-310-1646 to try Ab Circle Pro for $14.95 plus shipping with credit card order. Call now for a free upgrade to priority processing. That's 1-800-310-1646.
Thank you, Brandon. In health news today, Imagine talking to another person and realizing you couldn't tell whether he was angry, sad, fearful, or disgusted. That describes the challenges of many people with Parkinson's disease, a brain disorder that leads to tremors and slurred speech, and now also appears to impair a person's ability to read the emotions of others. In the March issue of Neuropsychology, scientists from the Harvard Medical School and Tufts University analyzed 34 different studies of 1,300 people, finding that people with Parkinson's often have difficulty recognizing negative emotions in others. In various studies with and without Parkinson's were asked to look at a series of photos depicting different facial expressions or asked to listen to voices that conveyed different emotional state. In some studies, participants were asked to label what a facial expression suggested, while in others they were asked to compare two expressions and distinguish between them. Heather Gray, a psychiatry instructor at Harvard and lead author of the analysis, said that people with Parkinson's disease had trouble understanding all kinds of emotions, but found it particularly difficult to make sense of negative emotions, including anger, disgust, fear, and sadness. Why the disease has this effect isn't clear. Researchers speculate that Parkinson's may take a bigger toll on certain neural circuits that are involved in recognizing negative emotions. Parkinson's disease occurs when nerve cells that produce dopamine are impaired or die. Dopamine is essential to coordinated body movement, and when dopamine-producing cells are damaged, the tremors, balance problems, and other symptoms are typical of Parkinson's. A separate study led by French researchers suggests that one of the common treatments for Parkinson's, deep brain stimulation, may increase the emotion recognition problem. The study compared the ability to recognize facial emotions in 44 people with advanced Parkinson's and 30 healthy control subjects. About half of those with Parkinson's had undergone implantation of simulators, while the others were receiving drug treatment as they waited for the implant procedure. The Baron simulators are electrical devices that normalize the nerve signals that control movement. Before implantation of the stimulators, all participants read facial expressions equally well, but 3 months after treatment, the patients with the simulators were significantly worse at recognizing fear and sadness compared with the other patients who had advanced Parkinson's or to the healthy controls. Patients with simulators confused emotions such as misreading anger as surprise. Sometimes they interpreted the expression of a negative emotion like fear or sadness to indicate no emotional response at all. The findings that Parkinson's affects a person's ability to read another emotional state may have a significant impact on long-term health because it could lead to social isolation. The information is also important for the family members and caregivers who spend time with someone who has Parkinson's. In today's entertainment news, Conan O'Brien has announced a 30-city comedy tour. As for what O'Brien will actually be doing on tour, Conan claims each show will be a night of music, comedy, hugging, and the occasional awkward silence. The tour, which begins April 12th in Oregon, is officially titled the Legally Prohibited from Being Funny on Television Tour. Conan will hit major cities across the country and Canada and will even be back in LA on April 24th.
Thank you for tuning in to TBC Today. I'm Brandon Vincent.
And I'm Angelina Soriano.